Rachel's face paled as she clutched her chest, her lips trembling. I saw the gears in her mind turning, searching for a way out, a lie that might hold weight. But there was nothing she could say, nothing that would erase the damage. I never meant for this to happen, she finally breathed, tears slipping down her cheeks. I let out a hollow laugh, shaking my head. Never meant for what, Rachel? To lie to me? To let me raise kids that aren't mine? To make a fool out of me? My voice cracked, rage barely contained beneath my skin. She reached for my hand, but I recoiled, repulsed by her touch. Please, she whimpered. I love you. They love you. That hasn't changed. I felt my throat tighten. Everything has changed. My legs threatened to buckle, but I forced myself to stand. My mind reeled, drowning in betrayal. The years, the memories, the sacrifices, it was all built on a foundation of deceit. Every scraped knee I had bandaged, every lullaby I had sung, every sleepless night rocking them back to sleep, it had all been a lie. Who? The word barely escaped my lips. Rachel's head dropped, her hands clutching her arms as if shielding herself from the inevitable judgment. She didn't answer. I took a step closer, towering over her. Who? I demanded, my voice sharp, venomous. She sniffled, wiping her tears. It was more than one, she admitted, barely above a whisper. My stomach turned violently, bile rising in my throat. More than one. My marriage hadn't been tainted by a single mistake. It had been defiled over and over. My hands clenched into fists. I wanted to scream, to break something, to wake up from this nightmare. How long? My own voice sounded distant. Rachel hesitated before whispering, since the beginning. My heart stopped. A slow, suffocating silence filled the space between us. My chest rose and fell with ragged breaths, my vision blurred at the edges. Every year of our marriage, every stolen kiss, every moment of intimacy, it had all been a facade. I had never been her husband. I had been a placeholder. A fool. I turned away from her, my mind racing. My gaze landed on the family photos lining the walls, smiling faces mocking me. Those children, my children, except they weren't. They weren't mine. Yet, my heart refused to accept it. How could I just stop loving them? They were innocent in this. They hadn't betrayed me. Rachel took a step forward. We can fix this, she pleaded. You're their father in every way that matters. Blood doesn't define that. I spun around, fury igniting my veins. Blood does matter. You stole my right to choose. You let me believe a lie for 15 years. Do you have any idea what you've done to me? My voice cracked with emotion. She sobbed, crumbling before me. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. I laughed bitterly. You lost me the moment you decided to betray me. The walls of our home closed in, suffocating, unbearable. I needed air. I needed to escape. Without another word, I stormed past her, past the reminders of a life that had never truly been mine. I grabbed my keys, my heart hammering. As I reached the door, I hesitated. The sound of small feet padding down the stairs made my stomach twist. Sarah's sleepy voice filled the room. Daddy, where are you going? I froze. My hand tightened around the doorknob. Daddy. The word cut through me like a blade. Because no matter what the test said, that's who I had been to them. My body trembled, torn between love and betrayal. But I couldn't stay. Not after this. Not knowing the truth. I turned the handle and stepped out into the cold night, leaving behind the only life I had ever known. Rain drizzled over the windshield as I drove aimlessly through the empty streets. The wipers screeched against the glass, a sound as grating as the thoughts spiraling in my head. Streetlights blurred through my vision, distorted by unshed tears. My hands gripped the wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. 15 years. 15 years of loving a woman who had never been faithful. 15 years of raising children who weren't mine. The weight of it crushed me, pressing against my ribs, making it hard to breathe. I pulled into an abandoned parking lot and killed the engine. Silence engulfed me, but my mind wouldn't stop screaming. My phone vibrated in the cup holder. Rachel. I let it ring. A second call followed. Then a third. I turned it off. The rain intensified, beating against the roof of my car. I leaned my head back, closing my eyes. Memories crashed over me. Sarah clinging to my leg on her first day of school, Jacob laughing as I chased him through the yard, Noah falling asleep on my chest as a baby. How was I supposed to erase all that? But how could I stay? A sudden knock on my window startled me. I turned sharply, heart pounding. A figure stood outside, drenched, a hood pulled over their head. My stomach twisted as I recognized him. Ethan. Rachel's brother. I hesitated before rolling the window down an inch. "What do you want?" My voice was hoarse, worn thin. He shoved his hands into his pockets, rain dripping from his face. "Come inside, man. Sitting in your car all night isn't going to fix anything." I scoffed. "You knew, didn't you?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "I found out 2 years ago. Rachel swore she'd tell you. I guess she never did." I let out a bitter laugh. "No, she didn't." Silence stretched between us. Finally, Ethan sighed. "Look, I don't condone what she did. But those kids love you. And whether you like it or not, you're their father." I clenched my jaw, my chest aching. "They deserve the truth." Ethan hesitated. "They also deserve you." A sharp pain tore through me at his words. I knew what he was implying. I was more than DNA. I had been there for every scraped knee, every bedtime story, every moment of their lives. But now, every second felt like a lie. I exhaled sharply and shook my head. "I need time." Ethan nodded, stepping back. "Just don't do something you'll regret." I watched as he disappeared into the rain, his words lingering. Regret. I already had plenty of that. I started the engine and drove off, knowing that when morning came, I'd have to face the impossible decision ahead of me. Morning light crept over the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and pink. I hadn't slept. My mind refused to rest, replaying every moment of my so-called life like a cruel, endless loop. My body felt numb, my heart hollow. I parked outside the house, staring at the front door, the same door I had walked out of hours ago, leaving behind the wreckage of my marriage, my family, my very identity. Through the window, I saw Rachel sitting on the couch, eyes red and swollen. She had been crying all night. Good. Let her feel even a fraction of the pain she had caused me. Summoning whatever strength remained, I stepped inside. The moment Rachel saw me, she bolted to her feet. "Oh, thank God. I was so scared you wouldn't come back." I shut the door behind me, my voice flat. "I'm not here to reconcile." Her face crumbled, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. "Then why?" I inhaled sharply, gripping the back of a chair for stability. "I need answers." Rachel swallowed hard, nodding. "Okay." I hesitated, then asked the question that had been clawing at me all night. "Who are their fathers?" She flinched as if I had struck her. "Does it matter?" My grip tightened, nails digging into my palm. "Yes, Rachel. It matters." She ran a shaking hand through her hair. "It's not just one man." My stomach twisted. "How many?" She looked away. "3." I let out a bitter laugh. "3 different men." "Jesus, Rachel." She burst into sobs. "I was young. We were young. I made mistakes, mistakes that snowballed. I wanted to tell you, but I was terrified of losing you." I paced the room, hands on my hips, trying to steady my breathing. "So you decided to lie. To let me live a lie. To let me love them, thinking they were mine." Rachel stepped closer, reaching for my arm, but I pulled away. "They are yours," she whispered. Anger flared through me. "Don't you dare say that. You stole my right to choose, Rachel. You made me believe I was their father when I wasn't." She sobbed harder. I know. But they don't know. To them, you are their father. Do you really want to destroy them with this?" Her words struck something deep within me. The kids. Sarah, Jacob, Noah. They adored me, trusted me. I had been their hero. What would this truth do to them? I turned away, staring at the family photos on the wall, photos that felt meaningless now. I don't know what to do. Rachel sniffled. Stay. Please. We can work through this. I spun around, disbelief flooding my veins. Work through this? Are you insane? There's no fixing this, Rachel. Her face crumbled. So, what? You're just going to leave them? Pain sliced through me. I don't know. And that was the truth. I had no idea what the hell I was supposed to do anymore. The kids sat in the living room, their innocent eyes filled with confusion. Sarah clutched her favorite stuffed bear, Jacob fidgeted with the hem of his shirt, and Noah, too young to fully understand, leaned against Rachel, sucking his thumb. I stood before them, my heart pounding so hard it felt like my ribs might crack. My mind screamed at me to stay, to pretend, to bury this truth deep enough that it could never hurt them. But I had been living a lie for 15 years. I couldn't do it anymore. Rachel's breath hitched. Please, don't do this, she whispered. I ignored her. My focus was on them, my children in every way except the one that now mattered the most. I knelt before Sarah, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I love you, I said, my voice raw. I love all of you more than you'll ever know. She frowned. Then why do you look so sad? My throat tightened. Because sometimes, love isn't enough. Jacob's eyes glistened. Daddy, are you leaving? I swallowed hard. I have to. The air in the room shifted, heavy and suffocating. Rachel gasped softly, covering her mouth. Sarah's eyes widened with terror. No. You can't leave. What did we do? I felt like I was shattering into pieces. Nothing, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Noah whimpered, burying his face in Rachel's side. Jacob jumped to his feet. Then why are you going? Don't you want us anymore? A sharp, unbearable pain ripped through me. My hands trembled as I reached for him, but he flinched away. I will always want you. Always. But, my voice cracked. Sometimes, grown-ups make mistakes, and those mistakes hurt people. Sarah sobbed, shaking her head. But you're our dad. Tears burned my eyes. No, sweetheart. I'm not. Rachel sucked in a sharp breath, shaking her head violently. No. Don't say it. I turned to her, my expression hard. They deserve the truth. Jacob's face twisted in horror. What truth? Rachel lunged forward, grabbing my arm. Please, don't destroy them. I yanked away. No more lies, Rachel. Her shoulders sagged as she crumbled to the couch, sobbing. Sarah's lips quivered. Daddy. I exhaled shakily, the weight of this moment crushing me. I love you with everything I have, I whispered. But I'm not your real father. The room fell silent. Sarah's breathing became erratic. Jacob looked frozen in place. Noah stared at me blankly, not understanding but sensing something was deeply wrong. I had broken them. Jacob's voice was barely audible. If you're not our dad, then who is? I glanced at Rachel, waiting for her to answer, but she only buried her face in her hands. The weight of my decision pressed down on me like a tombstone. I had spent my entire life protecting these kids, but in one moment, I had shattered their world. Sarah stood abruptly, her small fists clenched. You're lying, she screamed. You're our dad. You have to be. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I wish I was. Jacob shoved me, his little hands hitting my chest. I hate you. You're a liar. Pain tore through me, but I let him push me. I let him be angry. I deserved it. Rachel sobbed harder, reaching for the kids, but they recoiled from her. I turned away, forcing myself to walk to the door. Every step felt like I was leaving behind a part of my soul. I hesitated at the doorway. One last look. One last moment. I love you, I choked out. Even if I don't deserve to. Then I walked out. The door shut behind me with a finality that echoed in my bones. The cool air hit my face as I stepped outside. My car sat in the driveway, waiting. I knew that once I drove away, there was no going back. I climbed in, gripping the wheel. My reflection stared back at me in the rearview mirror, a broken man, a man who had lost everything. But as I looked deeper, I saw something else. Freedom. For the first time in 15 years, I wasn't living a lie. I started the engine. And this time, I didn't look back.